Hello everyone who hops on this video and listens to my testimony. I'm Shilah, and today is November the 28th, 2023, and today I'd like to share with you a testimony, my testimony, from when I was reborn until now. So, I was asleep February the 22nd, 2018. And when I woke up, I heard my name out of my sleep, Shiloh, and it sounded like my dad's voice. I heard it again, Shiloh. I woke up, and I was puzzled to say yes. I was just really puzzled why I would hear my name in my father's voice speaking to me. Me and my father were not speaking since Christmas the following year, 2017. We got into an argument over Muhammad, he's Muslim, and Jesus, I'm Christian. And it was Christmas time, and me and my dad got into an argument over who's the right prophet, Jesus or Muhammad. So it led us into a huge argument, and we didn't speak. Now, February the 22nd, 2018, when I heard my name, it was his voice. I didn't know much about the Bible at that time. I believed in Jesus, but I didn't know about the Bible. I didn't know him by his word. So, in 2018, on that morning when I woke up, I went through a series of events of fasting, different things that I had never done before. And I was called basically like the prophet Samuel out of his sleep. Come to find out, when I started reading the Bible, I found exactly what happened to me. So, by August 2018, I was living with my mother at this time, and inside the household was my brother, and I had a lot of tension, like a spiritual warfare, strife between my own household. And it was horrible. You know, my life started changing also. I used to smoke cigarettes, I used to drink alcohol, I used to smoke marijuana even. But in 2018, I gave all that stuff up. Just, it didn't sit well with me. And so by August 2018, my household started just battling with me. I felt like I was kind of like pushed away. You know, I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, I was no fun anymore. My life was changing. I couldn't see it, they couldn't see it then. Me and my brother had gotten into an argument, so much so that one of us had to leave. And it was a very unfair situation because my mother had a stroke in 2018. So we were all in the house taking care of her. The house was technically hers, that she put $75,000 down on. But at the time, she didn't have as much credit. My brother had more credit, so they were able to, in 2016, get this house that we all lived in. And of course, I was taking her to doctor appointments 3 times a week. And so we all pretty much, took care of my mother. Me and my brother did. And so August 21st, 2018, me and my brother got into a very heated argument that caused a fight. And so much so I ended up calling the police because he lost his mind and started attacking me. Well, the police said one of us had to leave. And so, being that it was in my brother's name and my mother was there, and he was paying for the house, I left. And I slept in my car for 10 days in the middle of Texas heat. It was 90 outside. And that's where the Lord began to prepare me for prayer, powerful prayers. I didn't know it back then, but that's what was happening. Everything that I was afflicted by during this process was unfair, but the Lord was preparing me. So for 10 days, I slept outside. It was 100 in the daytime and 90 at night. And of course, I was scared. I was sleeping in the back seat, so I'd never been in that position. So I slept with my windows almost up, drinking a bottle of water every 2 hours at waking up. I had no peace, no comfort. I can only imagine that's what hell would feel like. You'll have no peace, no comfort, and that much heat. And times it by whatever times. The fire. I was in heat. 90 degrees at nighttime. It was very hot. I was sweating. No peace. So after about 10 days, I was so tired. I could not sleep. The unfair situation of me and my brother arguing and coming to the point of me having to leave suddenly began to look pretty good. And I heard the Lord say, go back to the house. He took care of my mountain. He is melting my mountain like wax. That's what I heard. Now, during this process, when I was out for those 10 days, I had an encounter with a man from Canada that came to McKinney, Texas, my hometown where I was at. And I didn't know that he would be there for the next 3 days. But he did say he would be there, but I didn't expect to see him the next 3 days. The first day I saw him, we spoke and I had some comfort around him. Suddenly I started crying, so much so that I went somewhere like lost in space. And when I came back, I realized I had tears all over my face and snot hanging out my nose, so much that I was crying. And when I came to, he looked at me like, and I started apologizing, and he said, no, don't you apologize. And then he pointed, we were in a Starbucks, and he said, it's for your tears, the flowers will grow. And I wanted to say, you're Jesus, but I didn't. I knew that was a physical man, and his name was Firas, which means in Arabic, haunting, lying. This man was not Arabic. But when he said his name, when I asked him his name was Firas. He said Firas with an accent. And I noticed he was not Arabic. So right away I got that this was an angelic encounter. And Firas means hunting lion. So the next 2 days I saw him. And it was the strangest thing. It was like he was walking by waving. Like he didn't even come in the second day. He just walked by the store and waved. The third day he came in and sat across from me. And he waved. And he let me finish doing what I was doing. I was in the process of writing a book called Online Now, at the same time being homeless. I would go to Starbucks to plug up. And this book, God said if I didn't write, I would die. But what's funny is this book is red, white, and blue. And he started telling me about it in 2007. I just kind of threw it on the back burner. So, in the process of all this, I got that completed too, but I'll get to that later. So, I saw Firas 3 days, and it was something about him that made me want to read the Bible. So I started reading the Bible. And by September 1st, I heard God say, go back to your house, your mother's house. I melted your mountain like wax. So I go back, and my brother answers the door. And I said, Sean, can I come back home? And he said, come inside. And He said, sit down here at the fireplace on the ledge. And he sat across from me. His eyes were red. I think he was still smoking marijuana. And he said, you can come back, but this is not your house. And I remember thinking, I don't really have a place, just because, the things that's happened in my life. This world is not set up for women, by the way. It's set up for men. And I began to see that. And I don't care what anybody says. Women are made to be under men, and men are made to basically take care of women. Now they may say this is an equal world, equality and all this. No. You could come out with a phrase like grab him by the pussy for Donald Trump, and that would be getting away with, because men are pussies if they don't stand up, and women are basically dykes if they do stand up. The way this world is set up is a man's world, and it became very obvious. Now, growing up, I didn't see, I was just a kid, and I was probably so much a kid that I was naive to things, and being afflicted, being thrown out, going through the battle really opened my eyes. So when I came back and he said, you can come back, but this is not your house. And I thought to myself, okay, so basically I'm just coming into the devil's demon den to sleep in my bed in a room, a 4-bedroom house, 3 bath, my mother's inheritance, because he had credit, because he was given a better opportunity and job as a man. But this is not my house. This is not my family. And I began to open my eyes and think, something's very wrong with families and the control and power. There's a spirit, and I didn't know it back then, but it's a spirit. So that was September 1st, and by September 11th, 10 days later, my brother was buying candles to make, or he was buying wax to make candles. And then the Lord showed me, you remember what I said? I melted your mountain like wax. And I saw him making candles. My brother don't make candles. But he bought a whole bunch of supplies to make candles. I mean, he probably made 50 candles. Candles and wax. And I remember the Lord saying, you see, I melted. So there's something about candles and the Lord in me. He melted my mountain like wax. And it was highlighted when I saw that. And he made it just at one time, and it's like he let the candles just sit there. He didn't know what to do with them. But I watched the Spirit of the Lord cause him to order all this stuff to make candles. I didn't say anything, but I heard and I watched. That was September the 11th, 2018. Also that night, I was still going through a lot of spiritual warfare. I couldn't get peace in this house or outside. I got no peace. And I reached out and made a post on a Real Talk Kim. And she's from Atlanta, the Atlanta, Georgia area. And if it wasn't for her in that time, I don't know. Whew. She was a big help in helping give me peace. So thank you if you ever see this Real Talk Kim. But from a post that she made, I made a comment. And from that comment, somebody in 10 Mile, Tennessee reached out to me. And not many people reached out to me during this process, but she reached out. And she's an older woman from 10 Mile, Tennessee, very sweet lady. I have met her already many times. She reached out and she said, Copper, because that's how I went by my name on Facebook. She said, Copper, you are anointed for something. I'm not sure what, but you're going through spiritual warfare. Do you have any olive oil? At the time, I only had avocado oil. And I said, this is what I have. And she said, that'll work. Okay. It was the symbolic thing